Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Samantha Farley. I am a type 1 diabetic as of 1 year ago, and I'm here to share my story with you all. Today I want to discuss really how my life has changed after being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. If you are new here, thank you so much for coming to my channel and watching this video. Make sure to check out all my other videos I have on type 1 diabetes. I'd love to hear your story as well, whether you were recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes or someone you know and love has recently been diagnosed with diabetes, or if maybe you have had diabetes your whole life and you just want to watch some more videos about it and feel connected amongst the community. I'd love to hear about it. So please let me know below in the comments why you are here, what's happened in your life most recently, and how I can really help you going forward. But today I wanted to talk about my life as it is now with type 1 diabetes. So prior to being diagnosed on February 18th, 2021, I like to say I was a normal human in that I ate whatever I wanted all the time. And it's funny when I look at my life now compared to what it was 1, 2, 3 years ago, and how much has changed for the better and for the worse. And I never want to be that negative person when I'm talking about type 1 diabetes, but the reality of it is, I am technically worse health than I was a few years ago. And it's unfortunate because I did not put myself there. It kind of just happened. It's really unfortunate that it did happen, but it's important to really look at your life in a positive note when things like this happen, and how you can keep your health where it's at and continue to keep a healthy body with a disease like this. So I want to talk about my life and eating prior to being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So like I just mentioned, I ate pretty much everything prior to being diagnosed. I honestly didn't know much about health and nutrition prior to being diagnosed. I knew like the obvious things and I knew the basics of nutrition, but I didn't really know the in and outs of it. For example, like I knew cheese was kind of fatty and maybe not the best option for me. I really used to love nachos. I mean, I still love nachos to this day, but I used to order nachos all the time when I would go out to restaurants. And I knew that maybe that wasn't the best option for dinner. It wasn't the healthiest option. It wasn't, the most nutritious and all that, but I loved it and I would do it because I wanted to do it. I never really understand that why a cookie was bad. Sure, I knew that there was sugar in it and like it was fatty, but why was a cookie bad? Like, why couldn't I have a cookie? Or why do people recommend maybe not having cookies every single day? I didn't really understand that. I just knew the basic, okay, cookies not great, probably shouldn't have it that often, but I'm still going to eat them. I didn't grow up in a family that really cared about nutrition. No one in my family is unhealthy by any means. I mean, we're actually a very, very active family. We all work out every day. We all go on really long walks. We've always been super active. So on that side of nutrition and health, we actually were really, really good. Like we would make sure to stay active all the time. About nutrition, we weren't great on that side of it, right? So like, people say when you want to be healthy, you work out and you eat healthy. And my family definitely had the working out part down, but we did not have the health part down and the nutrition part down. None of us ate bad by any means, but we definitely enjoyed ourselves. And you should. I still think you 100% should enjoy yourself. That's what life's all about. But we would have pizza all the time. We would have donuts. We would not really follow any specific nutritional diet because we didn't have to. We were all really active. But when I was recently diagnosed in the hospital, it really scared me because all the doctors were saying was that I can't eat certain things. I was actually very upset with the hospital because they just assumed I knew everything about nutrition already, and I did not. I didn't really know what a carb was. I'm a runner, and our little saying before a long run is carb up. And in my mind, that meant eat a ton of pasta. But like, what about pasta was a carb? I didn't really know. I didn't know that honestly, most foods have carbs. I had no idea. I mean, if you would have told me that veggies have carbs, I would have been like, no way. Well, guess what? They do. I mean, they have very minimal carbs, very minimal compared to pasta, but they still have carbs. And so I didn't really know what that meant. And all I kept hearing from the hospital, my doctors, was be careful with carbs, like eat minimal carbs, don't eat carbs. When I was in the hospital, a nutritionist came in. She was a young girl, probably around my age. She basically told me that I could no longer have tortilla chips and I can no longer have just chips in general, because she asked me what my favorite snack was. And I literally said nachos. And she looked at me and was like, well, you can't have tortilla chips anymore. You have to have cheese chips if you're going to eat chips. And I remember my face being like, excuse me? Did you really just tell me I can't eat tortilla chips? That was like very, very scary for me, especially because I didn't know anything about nutrition. I just knew what was good and what was bad, why they were good and why they were bad. I didn't actually know. I don't know what a carb was. I didn't really know that a sugar was a carb. Actually, I definitely did not know that. I do now, but I didn't know that, didn't know what fat was and how much fat you should eat and how much fat is in peanut butter. That's also news to me recently within the past year. I had no idea that there was so much fat in peanut butter, good fat, bad fats. I mean, all that stuff. I had no idea what any of that was prior to being diagnosed. I've only had type 1 diabetes for a little over a year now, and I still get very confused with all of this terminology of nutrition. I don't fully understand it yet. And it's going to be a lifelong learning process of learning about, carbs and fats and fiber and all of that. But what has happened to me over the past year after being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes that I'm actually so grateful for is the fact that I've learned more about nutrition. I almost get upset knowing that I didn't know anything about nutrition prior to being diagnosed. My favorite dessert was a Reese cup, chocolate and peanut butter. That was my favorite dessert. I would eat some type of chocolate every single night prior to being diagnosed because I had such a bad sweet tooth. And I did not know why that was so bad for me. Diabetes aside, I shouldn't have probably been doing that. I shouldn't have been eating chocolate and peanut butter every single night. And once again, not for my diabetes purposes, but just for my health, to make sure that I stay healthy and I stay fit and just well overall, and eating, whole foods and things like that. I didn't understand any of that. So now fast forward a year later after being diagnosed, being pressured to learn this information, being pressured to learn what a carb is, what I'm supposed to pair with carbs to help my blood sugars, what I should avoid eating. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you, you should eat everything you absolutely want with type 1 diabetes. You should not eliminate anything because you think it's not good for you. So that nutritionist that I saw in the hospital, I disagree 100% with her. I will eat tortilla chips if I want to. So thank you. I think you have to more think of the nutritional facts as overall health versus I'm only going to do this or not going to do this because I have type 1 diabetes. I hope that makes sense. I know I was kind of spitfiring here and there and everywhere, but the one thing I've really gotten out of type 1 diabetes and what I'm actually super grateful for is the fact that I'm learning about health and nutrition and why maybe I should take it easy on certain foods and why I should pair up, fiber and fats with carbs and all these things. And yes, it 100% helps my blood sugar stay pretty steady, but not even that. I feel better as a person. I feel less tired all the time. I feel cleaner. I don't feel, I don't have as much acne on my face. I just feel clean. I feel healthier when I eat better foods. And so while type 1 diabetes is my excuse for getting healthier, I am happy that I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in this sense, because I would have never learned about nutrition. It just wasn't something that I grew up with, or I actually cared about learning until I absolutely had to, which is okay, because sometimes that happens in life, right? Something happens and then you have to learn how to adjust to it. It's really important to look for the benefits in diagnoses like this and diseases like this, because most of the time diabetes is hard and frustrating. And, it's something that we think about literally 24/7, every minute, every single day. And it can be overwhelming and it can be upsetting. And you can kind of fall down this rabbit hole of being depressed and sad and frustrated. And why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And don't get me wrong, I've had those days. I have those days a lot where I'm just upset and I want to go lay on the couch and cry. There's also the days where I'm very thankful I got this disease. I'm thankful for what I've learned over the past year in terms of nutrition and health, and why now I'm trying to actually take care of myself as a human rather than just like as a type 1 diabetic, if that makes sense. I want to actually take care of myself as a human being now, get stronger, do more weightlifting, get healthier, do more cardio. I love to run and I'm not going to give that up. I'm going to continue to run with type 1 diabetes. Going back to the food, it's just, I would have never honestly ate sweet potatoes prior to 1 year ago, prior to being diagnosed. I didn't like sweet potatoes. I don't know why. I didn't like the taste. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but after being diagnosed, my taste buds, I think, maybe have changed. And I don't even know if that's possible or if maybe it is just my mindset. But all of a sudden, I'm all about sweet potatoes. And I know now that those are actually a wonderful carb for me to eat with my meals. So if I'm having, protein and some salad and fiber and all of that, it is important to throw carbs in your meal because that's what gives you energy. But there are several different types of carbs, right? Like you can eat carbs with fat, like a pizza, or you can have healthy carbs like sweet potatoes, which sweet potatoes have a lot of carbs. So you have to be careful. I mean, you can't be eating 100 sweet potatoes in a night, but you do need to have carbs. And I think a lot of people learn new to diabetes is that I can't eat carbs. And that's so false, so false. If you're new to this, please eat your carbs. And you can eat whatever type of carb you want. But I'm just telling you that you'll probably learn over the process of your diabetes experience that you will feel better if you eat better carbs, and if you're pairing them with better items. So just keep that in mind. But I wanted to share with you really like how my life has changed after being diagnosed in terms of nutrition. And it's crazy to me to think that like I'm healthier now than I was before in terms of nutrition. Yes, I know I have diabetes now, and technically overall, like I am not healthier, but I am in terms of taking care of other parts of my body, like my heart, trying to make sure my heart stays well because I have diabetes. And there are so many complications that can happen. And so I want to do whatever I can to keep my heart healthy, to keep my body moving and all of that, and to be eating the things that make me feel good as a person. What my advice is to you if you're a new diabetic is, one, have those cry days. Like be upset that you have this now because it is life-changing and it is upsetting and you do need to grieve. But number two is think about what you can actually get out of this disease and how it can help you as a person and as a human being, and how it can help you grow going forward. And if you're like me and you don't know a ton about nutrition, you will learn so much, and not even like on purpose, like it just kind of happens. You just learn about things. And I notice I'm more interested in it now. I'm more interested in like, what is a carb? Like what is fat? I don't know. Like what is saturated fat versus trans fat? I never in my life read labels prior to being diagnosed. Now I do look at them and I am shocked by some of the labels. I am literally shocked by how much added sugar is in foods, all the packaged foods out there and all of that. So I think it's really important to really look at the nutrition in foods, because I think you will be shocked, just like me. It's kind of upsetting that, all the big brands are doing this to us, but that is what I've learned. That is what I've gained from having type 1 diabetes is my health. I got my health back, honestly. And don't get me wrong, I still have my pizza days and I still have my taco days, my fried chicken days, but I don't do it as often as I used to. And I understand now why I shouldn't. And that is huge to me. I just gave you so much information about my life, why it's different, how it's better, how my life has really changed overall as a new type 1 diabetic. I wanted to let you know I'm actually doing an interview series with other type 1 diabetic leaders in the space all over the world, whether they're, they have a company in type 1 diabetes or they're a type 1 diabetic themselves, but maybe like run races or whatever the case might be, just other people that I have looked up to over the past year. I'm interviewing them to just learn more about them, learn about their tips for managing blood sugars, their favorite products in the industry, like cool little tools that you can put on and use and things like that. And really just learn from them, because I want to now take the knowledge I've learned and give it back to you as new diabetics or caregivers, or even people that have lived with type 1 diabetes for their whole life. There's always something you can learn. And so I'm going to share what I've learned personally, but then I also want to interview others to learn what they've learned and then share it all back with you. And I'm giving out these interviews. So there is going to be a link below. If you want to watch these interviews, click on the link, put in your information to get access to these interviews. They are not ready yet. I'm not sharing the interviews until I'm done with 10 to 15 of them, which will be a while down the road. So make sure to put your email in so that you are ready to get notified when they come out. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I will also put my link down there for my other email list, which is going to be just stories about me and my experiences. So make sure to either choose one of the two or put your email and name in both, whatever you want to do. And then the third thing I ask of you is to comment below and let me know, well, one, what you thought of this video. I don't want to be making videos that you guys don't care about. So let me know, was this helpful? Was it not helpful? And then let me know what you want me to talk about going forward, or if there's any interview questions you would like me to ask my future interviewees and something you would want to know from these people, comment below and let me know, because I would love to ask them, right? My whole goal is to help you guys and help myself also, because I'm trying to learn more, but then also help you learn about type 1 diabetes and nutrition and health and blood sugars and all of that jazz. So let me know what you want to know and I'll ask them. I can also do more videos on those topics as well, just about my life and my experiences with type 1 diabetes. So let me know all of that. I will see you guys in the next video next week. Okay, bye.